WNY watercooler.com.
Fuck you all! Fuck the fucking Patriots! I don't give a shit! Yes! Yes! Let's go, Bill! Throw it! Throw it! Throw it! Yes! Yes! Yeah! Let's go, Bill! Throw it! Throw it! Throw it! Yes! Yeah! Yeah! Goddamn right! Yeah! What are you doing, bro? You guys know this guy? Yeah. You know this guy? Yeah. He's off the hook, huh? Yes,
Well, welcome back. WNYWaterCooler.com podcast. Get us on Spotify. Hope we're in your year-end lists on there. Look for us on iTunes, YouTube, or just go to the blog. I'm Steve. We got Coast.
Most important podcast in 13 podcast seasons.
Maybe the AFC Championship game, but or even the divisional round. Or the wild card, but this game, it's making me physically ill. I listened to Bill Simmons, and people just talking about Mac Jones makes me want to jump through a window into traffic.
Wow, we actually agree on something. I can't take it. It makes me physically ill too. I can't listen to any. I love listening. I like listening to that NFL podcast, stuff like that. I can't stomach it. I wish it was the Dolphins were good.
I would take any team. I mean, any team other than them. I mean, it's just sickening. It's just sickening.
And the way they talk about Mac Jones, I don't understand. I mean, I've watched every Patriots game. I've watched enough of the Patriots whenever they're on. I watched almost the entire game Sunday. This guy has. It's a credit to their coaching staff in the way they're using him, and his average air yards per throw is like one of the lowest in the league. Everything is super simple for him, and he's smart enough to know to do the ball, give him that. But like talking about this guy like he's like the savior, it just makes me sick. It really does.
I give him credit. He's been better than I thought he would be, but the way that people talk about him, like. He's going to lead them to Super Bowls and shit. It's not him. He's not making a lot of mistakes, and the rest of the team is playing like almost perfect.
This is like the first drive against the Titans on Sunday. They scored a touchdown. The announcers are gushing over Mac Jones. They had like a 3rd and 10. It was like a jet sweep to Bourne for 10 yards, first down. Next 3rd and 10. They throw a screen pass to Bolden for like 10 yards, first down. And then it's 3rd and goal or whatever from the 2, and he throws the fade to Bourne, and the announcer's like, it was clearly a design play to just throw this one specific pass to Bourne. Like, he didn't do anything on this drive that was anything special, and the announcers are just like, it's brutal. It's awful, man. It's just awful.
I mean, I guess some of it, the same thing was with Herbert last year, but I mean, no one cares about the Chargers, so no one listens to it. But I mean, there's always some guy that's overhyped. But do we even want to talk about the Saints game at all? I mean, it seemed like it was a month ago, but
the Saints. I mean, I thought that we played excellent.
Excellent.
Excellent. I thought we obviously had the 2 turnovers in the first half. That cost us points, both of them really. And I mean, you don't make those mistakes, we're probably winning, 45 to 6. And it's just, the defense played well. I mean, I know they had a ton of injuries, but on defense, their defense is allegedly pretty good. And I thought we offensively, we played really well. We ran the ball a lot in the first half. That was nice to see. Breida, the run kind of disappeared in the third quarter, but that's when we went off. So I just thought it was a good performance, a good bounce back performance. Because don't forget, we're banged up too. We're missing a starting offensive lineman, starting defensive tackle. It's
Yeah,
not
but
we
they
were fully
had the
healthy.
Saints had no one. I mean, I know who Marquise, what's his name is because I pick him up and drop him in every league every couple of weeks. But I mean,
Oh yeah, their offense sucked. Our defense played how they should have. I got more so on the offensive side of the ball. It was good to see us perform well after we kind of got our asses, not kind of, we got our asses kicked 4 days earlier.
yeah, I mean their middle linebacker's good for the Saints, and they have Lattimore, and the Diggs still played real well against him. I mean that touchdown he had was just like,
Sick.
yeah, I mean, yeah, but just the Josh Allen throw. I mean, if it was Mac Jones that threw that pass, he would have gotten all the credit. But yeah, I mean, Allen or Diggs there was just incredible. But
Yeah, you would have got, you're right, you would have got, 4 touchdown passes, and Allen played well. The interceptions. The first one was, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people think the first one was Allen's fault. That seemed like a miscommunication to me. The second one, though, inside the 10, I blame him more on that one than the first one. He kind of held onto the ball and got his, he threw, but, I don't know. That
no,
stuff happens.
I mean, the game it was weird for me. I watched half the game after dinner with my family, and one TV's on the antenna, and the other one's hooked up to the cable, and everyone's like, "Oh, this one's ahead," so everyone's walking into that one. When I tried to set both up on antennas, and the one antenna they had didn't work, and it's like there's 3 dogs running around, 4 kids, and I'm
Three
surprised.
dogs, 4 kids. Jesus.
I'm surprised I even remember what the hell is happening, but
Yeah.
it
In
was.
the first half, it was a little, sloppy, but they took care of business. There's really not much more. The Saints they're not good. They have injuries. We stopped them, and
Yeah, I mean the
it's
game.
been all or nothing this season with this team. All or nothing, and it's just you don't know what you're going to get with these guys.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully the right tackle's coming back. I mean, Star Latula. I mean, the guy's been out for 2 or 3 weeks. He's only played what, like 5 fucking games the last 2 years. I mean, if he's in there,
I cannot stand Latulaway. I don't know what. I mean, not to get on this vaccine thing, but he sat out a season and then doesn't get the vaccine. And if I'm his teammate, Dick said it before the season, regardless of what you think about the vaccine, you're part of the team, and you have a responsibility to be available for the team. And Latulaway just hasn't been. Last season, how much could we have used him? We sucked against the run. We had stretches last year where our defense was abysmal. And this season, because he doesn't get the COVID vaccine, he misses, however many games, 2 games, and in one where we got run all over. So it's just frustrating.
well, I don't get how you take a year off, don't get the vaccine, then you get the disease that you were scared to get last year when you could have gotten something that would have mitigated it to a certain extent, and the whole thing makes no fucking sense, and I don't even want to hear what he has to say about it. Unless he's allergic to it, which I don't know. It's bizarre.
But you wouldn't be allergic to both, probably. There was options, and I don't know. It's just
It made no
I don't know.
sense.
It made no sense. And then obviously Spencer Brown also didn't get the vaccine, and because of that, he misses 2 games. So it's just I don't know. Like I said, you got to be there for your teammates. I mean, I'd be pissed if I had a teammate that just couldn't play because of this. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's very rare exceptions, but and it's going to be interesting the rest of the season because teams are going to get screwed over because guys are going to test positive for COVID, and that could really mess up some games down the stretch.
Well, I don't even know why they test the guys, but so might as well just move to the Patriots game because that Saints game. I mean, we stomped them and they looked like shit. So
Yeah,
we better not. McDermott cannot come out and get shredded by this Patriots team. You cannot get shredded by this team and this fucking asshole piece of shit Bama motherfucking fuckboy. We just can't. We can't. I can't stand it. That cannot happen.
Well, I know we had playoff games last season, but I think this is the biggest 4-game stretch of McDermott's career as a coach. I think that he, like you said, he cannot. First of all, he absolutely. If we get swept by the Patriots, I might join like Tim on McDermott here. That's inexcusable with this team that we have to get swept by New England. It can't happen. And they got to show up on Monday night and not if we get run over by the Pats and smoked. That's an indictment on the coaching staff more than anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, he's supposed to be a defensive genius. The Patriots don't run any sort of exotic offense. I mean, they dump the ball around. They use Bourne like we pretty much use McKenzie, but he's better. Bourne's a better receiver, but not a lot better. And they have a couple of good running backs. They're not great. I mean, their tight ends are pretty good.
But it's not like the tight ends are really producing much. I mean, it's very simple what they do. It's like the old school, like run and play defense and control the game that way and force other teams to screw up, which every team they play just screws up and beats themselves. And that's how they're winning all these games. I did a little bit of, I looked back at their last 6 games, and they're a plus 13 in the turnover differential. 17 takeaways, only 4 giveaways in the last 6 games. 17 takeaways in 6 games is insane. That's 3 per game. And what do you think they're 6-0 in those games. We're 3-3. What do you think our give-take ratio is in those 6 games since the Titans game?
It's probably even.
-2. That's the difference. We cannot. If we do not turn the ball over, we could really blow them out if we don't turn the ball over. I really believe that because we have so much more talent than them that.
Well, yeah. I mean, if we get up 17 or 10 or 17 points, I don't see how they're going to come back on the Bills. I mean, they're not going to be. I mean, we just talked about the tight ends. One of them has 11 catches in the last 4 games, and the other one has 25 total this season. So Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith, I mean, they're not tearing it up, but they seem to be open quite a bit. I mean, from when I watch the Patriots, before I slit my eyes, but
the Patriots, and they started the season 2-4. They almost lost to Houston, and so they weren't really they were not really playing well early in the season. And since then, they haven't Jones hasn't had to do anything. They've had big leads. They're winning their last 6 games by an average of 25 points. They haven't allowed more than 13 points in over a month since the Chargers game. So the defense has been totally shutting down every team they've played. And granted, they haven't really played anybody. I mean, they haven't played anybody. They're very similar to us. And they just haven't. I mean, they beat the Titans, who were a shell of the team we faced, and they beat the Browns, who.
I mean, Baker Mayfield. I've been betting against Baker Mayfield for a month, just winning cash. It's like free money. He's hurt, so they played them with Baker with one arm and without their running backs.
They didn't have either running back. They didn't have Hunt. They didn't have Chubb.
Yeah, and the Titans didn't have either of their receivers or their running back. I mean, those are 2 All-Pros and another Pro Bowler. I mean,
Brown's one of the best receivers in the NFL. If that guy was on a passing offense, oh my god, that guy's awesome. So that was a gift for them. So in their other wins they played against Carolina with Darnold and I don't know, Walker played in that game. The Falcons were atrocious. The Chargers, and I forget the other team.
Jets.
Probably the Jets in there somewhere. But so they haven't really beaten anybody. But if we can get a lead early, and I've noticed, and with us, if we get off to a fast start, it's we get confidence, and then with the talent we have, we just run teams over. But if we get off to a slow start, it just seems like we can never get it going, and we just suck.
I'm having flashbacks to last time was it a primetime game when they blocked the punt and scored the touchdown? That was the only touchdown of the game, or was that a 1:00 game?
When New England did?
Yeah.
Versus us, they blocked the punt, scored a touchdown, and
we lost the game 17-13 or something.
Was it the game Allen got hurt and
Yeah.
yes, I think we lost like 16-10, and we were Barkley had us like inside the 10 to take the lead. I mean, just like I forget what happened.
I feel like the Patriots to beat the Bills in this spot, they're going to need a defensive or a special teams touchdown, and it's completely plausible that they will.
Yeah, it's almost like, I mean, they had a stretch there in this winning streak where they had defensive touchdowns every game, and then they have like a defensive a return to like inside the 5 against one of the teams, maybe Cleveland. So their defense is. I mean, the Titans turned it over 4 times, and
2 were in the red zone, and
they had one. Yeah, they were marching on one drive, and the guy fumbled. Another fumble, the guy like breaks off a 50-yard run, and the corner like forces the fumble, and the guy's like. A lot of this stuff is kind of luck, and I'm sure they're coached to like punch the ball out, all that stuff. But like, I don't know, man. The Titans team with all the injuries and the way they were able to just move the ball. I don't know. I mean, the score wasn't indicative of how that game went.
I thought, yeah. I mean, at halftime it was
16-13.
16-13. Yeah, and then the Titans came out and fumbled it a couple times, and
they
did have that fluke. They had a long touchdown run by Texas boy, but
they had a few long runs though, so it's not like it was really a fluke. They ran it for almost 300 yards, and they had a 4th and goal from the 1 where Tannehill threw a pick in the end zone. So like the opportunities were definitely there for Tennessee, and they just couldn't take advantage. And that team didn't have any talent for it. So.
Yeah, I didn't even know who the receivers were that he was throwing to. I mean,
exactly.
A couple of those guys I had no clue. Yeah, Mac Jones his last 5 games against Tennessee he had 310, against the Falcons he had 207 passing, Cleveland he had 198, Carolina he had 139, and the Chargers game he had 217. And is that a team stat?
It is, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Hearing like you mentioned Simmons, hearing him talk about Jones, he was like. What was the game they just played? Maybe it was the Browns game or something. He was remarkable in this game. I was like, he didn't even throw for 200 yards. It's just, how can you make comments like this to me? It's crazy. I don't know. So, but he's smart. He's doing very well. So I don't know. It's hard to really knock him too much, but it's just I think people need to just kind of chill. We'll easily be the best defense they've faced so far.
I just thought that when they started out 2-4, it's like, okay, we got one more year before we just give me one more free year of not having to worry about this fucking coach and this team and these fans. Hopefully, there's not going to be a lot of fans there on Monday.
I would imagine it'll be 90% Bills fans, but
mostly because it's tough to travel on a Monday in December.
The Chargers had the lead in the 4th quarter with the ball, and they threw a pick 6. So Houston was up double digits. So they had, they had a couple losses sitting there that.
Yeah, I mean their linebackers are old. Donta Hightower and the guy that they took back from the Dolphins, those guys are old as fuck. Judon's really good. I mean, he's actually a menace. He's a terror out there. I notice him on almost every play. But the secondary is, I mean, Jackson is pretty good, I guess. But I don't really know much about their safeties. They have a couple good guys on their D line, but they just gave up 280 yards on the ground. So.
What quarterbacks have they faced? Seriously, who have they faced? Yeah, they lost to Dallas. Dak Prescott threw for 470 yards in that game. They played the Buccaneers in a monsoon, and that game you can just throw out because of not only the weather, but just how weird it was with Brady coming back. But who else have they played? Davis Mills. Who are their wins against? Davis Mills, Darnold / P.J. Walker, Tannehill without any of his players.
The Jets twice.
I mean, they haven't played anybody. I mean, they lost to Tua.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, they lost to the Saints.
Herbert.
The Saints had your boy Jameis.
But even in that game, I don't know how well the Saints. I think Mac made threw some picks in that one, but I don't know. Herbert's their one good win, I guess. But that team's obviously not that good. And Herbert might be like the most uh, overrated quarterback ever. He's already like it's only his second year. People talking about this guy like he's like the next John Elway, and they seem to struggle to score 20 points half the time.
Well, yeah, the coach gets hyped on fourth down. Uh,
Yeah,
but
but
they're
it's not like they've played some murder's row quarterbacks. I mean, neither have we. But we at least have at least one game where we can say we played well against the Chiefs.
yeah, I mean they're passing. They gave up 85 yards passing, 125, 118, 162, 206, 237, and then they gave up 445 to Dak. They gave up 293, 261 in the middle there. The Texans actually threw for a lot of yards on him somehow.
Who did?
Davis Mills threw for two. They gave
Yeah.
up 293 against them.
Yeah, so they haven't been tested. They have not been tested. And I don't know, man, like, do you think that there's any residual carryover from that game we played last December? I mean, it's a lot of the same guys on D. It's probably, it's the same coaching staff over there, and we absolutely torched them. So at least we have, like, that kind of thought to, I don't know.
Yeah, but
Belichick's going to change it up, but
their defense last year was decimated. They had so many guys that were out. I mean, they
didn't have Hightower. I mean, they didn't have Judon on the team, but I don't know how many guys were similar. Their defense was pretty good last season.
Yeah, it still was pretty good. I mean,
so
I'm throwing out. Last year, I'd pretty much throw out. I mean, it's like a glorified practice with no fans in these regular season games.
Yeah, you really think last year deserves an asterisk.
Yeah, I do.
And none of it should
we lost to the Jackson. How did we lose to the Jaguars?
That changed everything for me, man. I'm telling you, I've never recovered. I don't think of this team or I don't think of the coaching staff or the team in the same way that I did for that game. I mean, everyone can have a bad game, but like, I don't care how bad of a game you have on our team to score second effort of terribleness on offense. Coaching, the players, everything was just a joke. And, I just can't over that. I can't take us seriously because of that game.
It completely, just put such a damper on this part of the season. Like, these games now are so... This game, we could lose the game, and the season's not over division-wise. We could definitely go into Foxborough and win. I mean, there's nothing that says we were going to... Because we lose this game, we'll lose the next game to them. But then we need them to lose...
Another game.
Well,
unless we win all of our other games.
Yeah, we'd have
really, to. If we finish 12-5 and split with New England, they cannot win the division.
Yeah.
So, but if we finish 11-6, then they're going to have to lose another game. So I don't know.
I mean, they could lose to the Colts or the Dolphins.
Dolphins, yeah, they could.
Theoretically,
Definitely. It sucks that they still have Jacksonville. I mean, you can't lose to Jacksonville. I feel like you can't lose to Jacksonville and be considered as like a legit Super Bowl contender.
Especially, it wasn't even like a fluke loss. It was just we didn't. I don't even know if we dressed 10 players at each play.
Dude, we ran 65 plays on offense and we handed the ball off 9 times. It's the most inexplicable offensive play calling display of football I've ever seen in my life. 9 points the other team scored. It was a close game. 9 handoffs, and I just can't get over it. I don't know. I mean, I was so pissed after that game. I still am thinking about it. We were 8-3 right now. The whole field we'd be in the driver's seat for the 1 seed. This game would be like, okay, if we win this game, it's over. The division is basically over. And instead, here we are. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, it's like deja vu from 2002 game in Jacksonville, and it totally screwed up our entire season.
Week 1?
I don't know. It's just a stupid Jacksonville loss.
That's some reason.
Imagine if we I don't know.
That franchise haunts us. They in the 90s. They in London.
London.
In the playoffs.
The playoff game, the '96 Kelly's last game. Jacksonville knocks them out.
They beat us in the playoffs 4 years ago too. Oh my God, that
we haven't scored a touchdown in Jacksonville 8 quarters, over 8 quarters. It's crazy.
Well, this
But I don't
game,
know. Like,
the Bills need to hit Mac Jones. They need to make him make mistakes. I mean,
100%.
we waste all these draft picks on all these defensive linemen. Brandon Bean hates the second round. He drafted Zay Jones. I can't look it up. My phone's not working. He drafted Zay Jones. He drafted Ford. He drafted Basham.
I don't think Bean drafted Zay Jones.
That was after. Yeah,
So
okay, because that was the Josh Allen year. Yeah, that wasn't.
That was like the white draft. Zay Jones was the white draft.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the year before. Somewhere around there.
Either way, this Boogie Basham draft pick, that's just every day it pisses me off more. Why did we do that? Why would we go defensive end, defensive end?
We're trying to build. The NFL is weird, man. We spent our entire off season basically thinking that we need the Kansas City Chiefs, and now we have to beat New England, and we are not, from a personnel standpoint. It's not a good matchup for us, and that's how it works. It's like now we're like turning back into like a rushing league.
I mean, it's not a They have some advantages with the way their offense goes against our defense. Although with Trey White now, I mean these safeties that Rec hates. I mean these guys gotta get better somehow. They had to play even better because they're crucial now. Without Trey White, and we had to draft Basham. We couldn't possibly have drafted a corner that most people wanted.
Yeah, I would not have minded a corner. I mean, we're going to need to replace probably Hughes and Addison next season. So
Why do that a year ahead of time? Why do that a year ahead of time? When there were tons of defensive ends out there, cheap guys.
Yeah, I mean, right now, looking at it, we wish we had a corner.
Or another guard, or another tackle.
Yeah.
Or even another receiver. Manny Sanders, I don't know. I mean, the guy's all right, but who?
Our receivers are fine.
Luckily, Knox is playing well and scores touchdowns every game. Which I said last week, Knox is going to have a big game. He had 2 tuds. I said he was going to.
Knox is a beast.
Luckily, if not, I wouldn't love the weapons that we have. I still don't understand why we can't complete a screen pass. I'll never understand that.
I don't understand why we can't complete a screen pass either. I mean, and this is why I talk about it every single week on how everything is on Allen's shoulders. How often does Allen complete like a short, easy pass that goes for like 20 yards? Like it just never happens. We ran a screen.
It happens.
It rarely happens.
Well, Beasley will usually drop it, like in the Jacksonville game.
Do you remember the screen we tried running against? We tried running a screen pass inside the 10 against the Saints. We ran it. We did I don't remember, it was like a play fade, whatever. Allen rolls to his left, and there was no receiver over there.
Yeah, there wasn't even a guy there to throw the ball to.
So then he had to turn around and run the other way, threw it to Knox and caught it, but it was ineligible man downfield. How does that happen?
Oh, I had a big Knox prop bet too. That screwed me, that play. But
we cannot execute a screen, and it seems like you said, the drops. It's like every time Singletary, it seems like he's set up for the perfect screen. It just doesn't catch it.
Yeah, or the guard doesn't pull in time or something. Yeah, we
just cannot execute these short passes.
Well, they need to pull out some plays you haven't used if those even exist. This game, you just have to win it. Just for not necessarily in the standings because we can go there and beat them in Foxborough, but just for the psyche of the players, the fans, even the coaches, and the quarterback. I mean, if we,
it's on to me. It's the coaching staff. This is a game for the coaching staff to put together a plan that provides, that wins the game. Simple. We have more talent. So unless our players just puke all over themselves, which, I don't know. I don't really expect that to happen. I just think that we have a good game plan, and we, take care of the ball.
Yeah, it's just sickening. It's going to come down to special teams, which with us, even we call up this guy Speedy, and he muffed a punt. Luckily, he
I know.
recovered it, but it's going to come down to some stupid shit like that. Some
You don't
punting
recover those
or
against New England, though.
yeah.
You just don't.
And of course, Nick
And
Folk kicks fucking 7 field goals, and I mean that Titans game, all they're doing kicking field goals, kicking field goals, kicking field goals. A real offense with the real receivers, the Titans would have been up on them. Their defense played as well as they could.
yep. And they had good field position off all these turnovers all game too. So yeah, I hate to sound it's as simple as us not turning it over. It's really that simple to me. Like
Does
I
Moss
just
play?
don't
Do we dress
I don't
Moss?
see what?
Moss? Who are we benching?
I think we're gonna probably keep the same lineup as last week, I would guess. I'm interested
Probably.
to see what happens with McKenzie and Stevenson. I don't know how comfortable I feel with either of those guys returning punts right now.
Just don't even
I would just
let the
I would
punts
just
fall.
I would just put Hyde back there.
Someone that's going to catch it and not muff it, I guess.
Yeah.
Or just
yeah, exactly.
let it bounce around until hopefully it bounces the right way. I don't.
Then you're playing New England, it'll bounce the wrong way and hit like Taiwan Jones in the back, and then
Probably.
like, I'm with you, man. Have Speedy back there for kick returns, but punt returns, I got a heart attack whenever we're trying to like the one he muffed. He's like running up to it, like trying to catch it low. Like I don't know, man. It's
These guys got
the guy who's sure-handed back there.
And we need Trey Edmonds to do something. Like, he has to make a big play, or Rousseau. I think Rousseau could make a big play in this game. He has to. Somebody, some of these young guys that we love, someone has to step up. Losing Trey White is just. If people really wanted to win the Super Bowl, that's pretty devastating. If you really think.
How do you feel about White? Losing White.
If you think you're going to win the Super Bowl, I don't see it. I don't see it. No, I mean, unless we shift our defensive scheme. Which,
I don't think we're going to change a single thing.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I can almost guarantee we won't. I mean, I give McDermott credit with where he gets some of these defensive guys out of nowhere, but I mean, you can't replace an All-Pro. He literally is an All-Pro. He's one of the 4 best cornerbacks in the league.
Well, first of all, because we lost to Jacksonville, I really don't. I don't think we're a Super Bowl team, anyways. Second of all, I think White, like obviously he's great, but if he was like a guy who we played a lot of man and he shadowed the other team's best receivers every game, like I think it would be a bigger loss. But since we play a ton of zone, as long as Dane Jackson like knows what he's doing,
which he should,
we should be okay. I think.
Well, what receivers had big games against us in the past? Like in the last 2 years, I can't think of many.
AJ Brown, besides him.
All right, yeah, okay, he did.
Well, because we're like the whole like unit in the passing game is great, and that's because our safeties are really good against the pass.
And of course, the Chiefs guys, they have big games against us, but
who does?
I mean, Cheetah, he does, but no one stops Tyreek Hill. He does, but that's. I mean, I guess I'm just used to playing the Dolphins and Jets and Patriots. They don't have good receivers, so I guess it doesn't really matter that much. But
I guess I'm confident in our defensive coaching staff I'm confident that Dane Jackson will know what he's doing, and we're not gonna. He's not gonna be lost out there, and he's not gonna be expected to cover guys one-on-one all the time. And I think we're gonna be okay. I think we'll still have a good passing. Put it this way, I think that based on the weakness of our defense, I think that not having Edmonds and Latulele is worse than not having White.
yeah, for our weakness, because we depend on these safeties and they play pretty well. But is Ramondre Stevenson, is he obscure enough to like be the guy that has the great game against us? Because we always invent running backs for the Patriots. I mean,
I don't even think he's obscure. I think it would have to be like J.J. Taylor.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. What's that guy's number?
Like, they have 4 running backs, right? Like, Taylor, Bolden, Harris, and Stevenson. Like, they're going to be... Jones might not throw more than 17 passes, unless we get the early lead. But if they have the leader, it's close. I can't see them throwing much at all. I mean, Belichick knows that we I don't know, but then we've been good against the run, except for that Colts game, which we were missing our two best run defenders.
And no
So
one stops JTT. I mean, no one stops him anyway. But these tight ends, I don't know. I mean, they haven't had huge games. I mean, Hunter Henry scores touchdowns. I mean, that's pretty much all he does. But I don't know. Like,
they've been winning games because of turnovers and capitalizing on turnovers and not making mistakes. That's what they've been in defensive touchdowns. That's what they've been doing, and
well, then it's gonna come down to Allen because I still want to chuck the ball on the field and have him run the ball.
me too. Me too.
Well,
If you mix it up, if we're mixing up, we can run the ball, which seems like
I meant
we might
him
be
run
able
the
to.
ball.
That makes everything so much easier for Allen to throw the ball downfield. And he's not going to feel. We don't want to get in a situation where he feels like he needs to do everything, because that's when we just like self combust. We should be somewhat balanced, and if we can establish some sort of running game, like we don't have to run all the time. We can still pass more than we run, but just have the threat of that. I think we'll do. I think our offense can really move the ball.
Thankfully, I have off Monday and Tuesday. I'm gonna skip coffee and just start drinking beer. I'm gonna be too my nerves. This is like the first game that's just like there's a big hype to it, and it's such an important game. Ugh.
You didn't feel like this. How'd you feel for the playoff games last year?
I thought it was a joke. I'm like, I gotta wear a mask. I mean, I guess it was freezing cold out, so it didn't. I would have probably worn something on my neck anyway. But I mean, it was just the Ravens game was. I just never bought into us last year winning the Super Bowl. So
I don't know. I don't know.
I was actually really nervous for the Colts game. The Colts game,
yeah.
I didn't want to go one and done. So that game, that
game. Which I think we already talked about last week. Yeah, I agree. That the Colts game, I don't think I even felt this nervous for the Colts game, honestly, just because it's the Patriots. But yeah, that was the one. Once we won the Colts game, I was like, this was a great year. Like, hopefully we win, but like if we lose, it was still a success. But now
I might have to be like you if we lose this game. I might be like you and not be able to listen to sports talk radio for a week. I can't listen to people just like I can't listen to Mac Jones hype anymore. Right?
I can't listen to the. It's just like it's just like a given right now. The Patriots are some great team. I can't take it. It's just they've beaten nobody. We have the same number of losses this time.
The difference right now. They're in first place. They're in first place. The difference is they played the Jets twice and we had a bye. That's the only difference.
It's literally the only difference. And we have a better record in the division. So like we already played the Jets twice. We'd be in first place. You're right. So there's really no difference. But when people talk, when you hear like national media people talk about the Bills, it's like, what's wrong with them?
Yeah.
You know, and I don't even disagree. But then they talk about the Patriots, and it's like, this team is amazing. You know, AFC favorites, like they're so good, and all this stuff. It's like, what?
If they played the Chiefs right now, I would take the Chiefs minus 8.5. I don't know. It's the Patriots team, like you're saying though. It's these turnovers. Jones stopped turning the ball over the last few games against these teams that are pretty depleted. It's just
17 take. I mean, I don't know what
Well, that is crazy stat.
17 takeaways in a 6-game stretch.
Yeah.
Seems like that's 3 takeaways a game, basically. On average, that's not sustainable. That's not sustainable. So, it doesn't seem like it should be sustainable.
Yeah. What is it? The last 23 years weren't sustainable either, but they somehow were. So. What's your prediction? Before
What's my prediction?
Yeah. We're coming to the end here.
Pats winning 34-30, and I think that we're going to lose because of a non-offensive TD, and I think that we are going to just screw ourselves with penalties, and I think we're going to have a couple fumbles, and I think we're going to have a defensive special teams touchdown. We're going to have a couple fumbles. We're not going to overcome it, but I think we're going to play well. I can't see us playing a mistake-free game, and I just can't. Wow. I can't see us winning.
I'm not getting off Mac Jones not being good, so I'm taking the Bills to win. We'll win like 23-17. The weather, I'm not scared of the weather. I don't know, a little bit of snow, maybe a little wind. I mean, it's always windy anyway. So it's sailing the guys on the radar. The weather, there might be weather. It's in 6 days, 7 days. No one knows what the weather's going to be like for 3 hours in 6 days from now.
Snow doesn't concern me.
Yeah, I don't care about snow. It's
But
mostly the
I
wind
think
or rain.
Rain, I think it's just, I don't know. Rain is going to impact what we want to do more than any other team. And, like, people will make the argument, oh, well, Josh Allen, he should be better than Mac Jones with bad weather. Well, no shit. He obviously would be, and he obviously is. But teams don't rely, like, New England doesn't rely on Mac Jones to win them the game. We rely on him to win us the game, basically. So, when you take away the strength, like, it'd be like us saying Mac Jones has to throw every play. And that would hurt New England. I don't know. It's like, when you have a passing offense, bad weather is going to hurt the team with the passing offense. It doesn't matter who the better quarterback is.
Yeah, and what primetime games have they had this year? The Bucks game, and was that the only primetime? Oh, well, the Falcons game. I mean, that doesn't count. So
The Bucks game, yeah.
Yeah, Bucks and Falcons.
The Patriots did, that Jones didn't do anything in that game, and the weather was terrible. And
yeah, so I'm just thinking. I mean, yeah, Jones played in big games in Alabama where he was like the 30th best player on the roster. So maybe the hype will get to him, but I mean, he's played in big situations before, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like crowd-wise, atmosphere-wise, I don't think any of it will be surprising to him. But I think our defense.
If Rousseau can crack him in the face, maybe. Or
I mean, in the Carolina game, the Patriots had like 200, like I forget exactly, 250 or something yards of offense. Carolina's a good defense, 250 yards of offense. We haven't had under 300 yards of offense in like 30 games. So, I don't know. It's just, I wish we could win a game like that, where we like, when was the last time we won a game where our offense just sucked? The Ravens game, I guess would be the answer.
Yeah. Well, Teron Johnson, we need him to make a play. All right, well, we'll be there at the lot around 3:34, so I'll see you then.
See ya.
Bills like Buffalo, I'm all about the bills like Thurman Thomas. I don't tip, I pay bills. Bitches call me Buffalo.
If I could save time in a bottle.
All right, go walk your dog.
I'm going to.
Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game. Another game.